Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a little break from some post-rotation stuff to look at some of the top decks which I think are going to perform well in the Oceanic International Championship, which is going to happen in a couple of days now, which is really exciting. But the only annoying thing is it is the same format pretty much in the Latin America International Championship. So I don't see a ton of stuff changing. I could see maybe some of the better players coming up with some fun text because Lugia has been dominating. So in this video, I'm just going to have my top 5 decks in this format, what I think will do well at the tournament. So number one is a really up and coming rising star, which is Goodra Vstar. This is a super strong Pokemon. It does 200 damage for water, metal, and the colors, but it tanks 80 damage, so it reduces any attacks done to it by 80, effectively giving it nearly 350 HP, which is really hard to get a one-hit KO on. It has performed well in the format, getting a second place, top 8, top 16, and a couple top 32s, and has a decent matchup. Like when you see it has a really good Reggie's control and Lost Box matchup, that's a really, really powerful thing because Reggie's and Evatol that control are kind of like coming up and being a big threat right now in the meta game. So dealing well with them are really good. These resources are from Limitless as well as Trainer Hill. Links to them are below in the description. And yeah, I think Goodra Vstar is just a super strong, powerful deck. This is a top 16 list from Michael, which just in Florida regionals. And I think it's a really, really powerful, really strong. It is Battle VIP Pass. It does have Capture Engine Quick Ball, which I really like, and the Raihan. And I love having the Cheryl tech purely as another, like a second reason to get a healing out. Kind of making Goodra really, really tanky and Pokemon. The Drapion is really good, especially against Mew. You do struggle sometimes with Lugia Arceus, which can be a bit of an issue. But bar that, I would say you have a really good matchup against most of the board, especially if you look down there at the bottom. Next one I think is going to do my fourth pick is Control. This is an archetype which always comes and goes, but as you can see on the right, it's done pretty well. It has won a tournament. It's got a few top 4s, top 8s, a few top 16s and 32s. And this version here, piloted by Azul's crew, and it did get a top 16 finish in Florida, is this Evatol control with Ice Cube. I think Ice Cube is much better, I sometimes think, than Pikachu. Purely on the basis, it doesn't give up 3 prizes. It's a single prize up. You can utilize your Scoop Up Net, and it can just, as soon as you get it out, again, especially against Lost Box, you can have a really decent matchup, and also against Reggie's. With the Wash Energy, you rely a lot less on energies being disrupted. I don't think it gets discarded from Evatol as well, which is really, really nice. So you're in a really, really good spot. As you can see, it does have a decent matchup against Lugia and Lost Box and Reggie's, which is kind of where you want to go, and also Mew Genesect as well. But it can struggle against some fringe things like Palkia Inteleon, which I do think is going on a rise. It is just out of my top 5 spots, but I feel like Palkia Inteleon, especially running like the Articuno and the Crabominal, can be incredibly powerful. And it does, unfortunately, Palkia does have the lightning weakness. So it does struggle because a lot of people who counter Lugia kind of get in crossfire. So that's something you always got to think about. And Control can kind of fall under that, but it doesn't have a really good answer to Palkia Inteleon because they are always going to get out some outs through their Inteleon engine. And like Arceus and Duraludon as well is pretty hard for it. It has a huge HP. It doesn't really run special energies, and it's not a basic Pokemon. So it can really struggle. But you could just try like a Miltank out. But it's going to be really tricky, especially against that matchup. I really like the style list. I like the Capable Toughness, the Gala Mine, the Regieleki, and especially the Starly. I think all of these cards work incredibly well in the style deck. And you can also get prizes. So you don't have to just use Peonier just to get Peony, just to get some of the stuff in the prizes. You can, in fact, take prizes. And I think Control is really strong right now, especially going into the meta. My third pick is actually Lost Zone Box. The reason why I think Lost Zone Box kind of is dipping down to third, as you can see, it hasn't performed as well as it has in the Lost Original format. It's got a couple top 4s, top 8s, plenty of 16 and 32s. And as you can see below, it has a really decent matchup against nearly everything on the board. But I always feel like it falls short. Now, there are multiple different versions. This is just looking at the Ray one. I think the Ray one is going to be the most popular because it's really to pilot. It's relatively affordable if you can find cheap Rays, right? And it's very simple. Like you just have to load up a Ray, hit hard, and that's it. Well, the Kyogre one can take a bit more thinking about it. The Sableye Charizard one, I can kind of see that working right now. But I feel like it can sometimes be a little bit slow if you don't miss an attack, which is what it always has to do, the Sableye version. If you miss an attack, I feel like that's when other decks can completely prioritize and get in there. And we also have this Turbo Dragonite with Zamazenta and Raikus and all of that lot, which is doing really, really well also in Japan. But also right now in this format, I can see the Dragonite one with like Sky Steel Stone, Forest Steel Stone trying to get a turn 1 attack with Dragonite. Nothing can really protect itself from 250. But again, that can be really fragile. If you base it on that one, like you have to get Dragonite turn 1 or the deck isn't strong enough, that's when you can really struggle. Which is why I think this requires a Raikou build. This is what got top 4 in the last releases. Regional is a really good, safe option. I think you're going to see loads of Lost Box. I think it is going to go down a little bit. People will be taking against it. It is a super strong archetype, but I feel like, and it has really good matchups against the board, but I also feel like it can get caught in the crossfire of being caught in not being as strong as it should be. That's my fault. I think this is a really strong Lost Box list. I love the Ice Cube Water Energy to help against the mirror match. And I think like the Raikou is really good. And especially the double Manaphy. Double Manaphy is really, really powerful. You don't need to rely on ordinary rods, just constantly recycle it. So having 2 Manaphies, you can Lost Zone 1 and you keep 1 later. I think that's really, really powerful. And I do think we're going to see Lost Zone really popular. Second option I'm going to have as my second pick is Mew VMAX. Now, this is the one that won Liverpool. If I'm going to probably be going there, I might be going to more of the advanced technology one, so you have a better Lugia Archeops matchup. But it still has a decent matchup overall, especially if you're Path to the P, your Collapse Stadium, your Lost City, you're constantly trying to slow down them as much as possible. You're fast, you're aggressive. This deck does run Silene, so that's kind of an option you may think about. But Mew has not been going anywhere since November 2021. Let's look at the results in this format. It's 1-1. It's come second in 2, top 4s, plenty of top 8, 16 and 32. This is a really simple Mew VMAX list with the Oricorio. Oricorio is really strong. Giving Mew VMAX essentially 330 HP is an insane number to try and hit in turn 1. I think it's also really powerful, especially the power tablets where you can utilize like cross future strike on like one of the completely forgotten the mute attack where you can like shuffle it back in. Don't know why that's just slipped my mind, but using that attack, especially against Lost Box, is really powerful, especially with Lost City. Let's look at the matchups. It's really good around the board. It does struggle a tiny bit with the Rayquaza Lost Box build. Purely because the Rayquaza can get a one-hit KO, you're only taking 1 prize, and that's really, really struggles. Mew is amazing. I would say the Meloetta version could be a bit stronger against Lost Box if you're trading 1 for 1, but sometimes if they're playing Drapion, or if you're just attacking with 3 prizes all the time, they can get really greedy and you can get punished. I love the Echoing Horn and Escape Rope. Escape Rope purely so you can constantly keep attacking. The same thing where I love the Cross Switcher. And Echoing Horn, like you team this up, you can get a really cheeky knockout near the end of the game. And I really feel like this is such a strong position. And there's no surprise, my top pick, which I think is going to probably do the best, is Lugia Vstar. I mean, look at the results. It gained another 1st and 2nd place. Orlando was full of Lugia Vstars. Like, it was insane. And look at the matchups below. It is a decent matchup against most things. We are in a stage now where the Lugia mirror match purely goes on who wins the coin flip. If you go first, you get out your Lugias and you get some Archeops in a discard pile, you're normally going to win. Then if you go second, I also feel like Lugia, because it's had such a dominance, I would say it's still the top deck to go in. but also be prepared that there's going to be some absolutely crazy techs out there for OCIC. The reason why I'm saying this is purely on it's done so well. Look at the Melbourne regionals when the second week of Silver Tempest was legal. There was like no Lugias, and there was like crazy decks which were doing well, like a water box deck. I think won the event. So again, Australia picks up some really good counter decks, and I would see Lugia. It's definitely going to be now back to the number one top deck. I would say Lost Box was 2 weeks ago's problem. Now I would say it's back to Lugia. But yeah, this was the first place that just won Orlando. I really like it. Captain Aroma kind of thing, like, yes, I've been thinking about it more, and it's really quite a fun tech. It's like your second, it's like your fourth quick ball, your fifth quick ball or ultra ball or evolution incense. It's quite a fun little one, especially with the echoing horn, especially with Irida. It opens up a lot more options. But I could also see this version of Lugia completely changing with the idea that the Greedent one got bubbled out of top 8. So Lugia, I feel like we can see some evolution into it. This is definitely the bulk standard Lugia list. And I think the results show it. And I think that's why I think Lugia is going to do incredibly well at this tournament. But anyway, that's a little short video kind of highlighting what decks I feel like are going to go well, my top 5 picks. And let me know in the description down below if you're going to be going and what deck you're going to be trying piloting. But don't obviously spoil any secrets that you're trying to gatekeep. I'm going to carry on a couple of videos more this week looking at some more post-rotation lists, as well as looking at some of the regional results. If you like this video, please subscribe and give me a like. If this video does well, I'll probably do a breakdown of what happens in the Oceanic International Championship if there's a crazy deck. But anyway, that's all for now. I will see you guys later. Bye for now.